All right, so let's do it. So I will just start off by introducing you, and then I will let you introduce yourself. So we are here with Nynke, and I don't even know what to call her because she is so many different things and so inspirational. And so Nynke is a registered nurse, and she's also a real estate investor, and also a healer, and also a really amazing person. So I'm really, really excited for you to meet her, and I hope you're going to be just as inspired hearing from her as I have been inspired working with her and getting to know her. So, Nynke, I'll let you get started. Why don't you start by explaining, number one, where you're from and what kind of a situation you were in when we started working together.
Um, so when I joined your program about, a couple of months ago, I had just graduated nursing school and done a little bit of traveling, and I was also kind of in a little bit of a slump. Just went for a divorce, and I think that I was basically in recovery mode. I wasn't really motivated to look for work, and I just needed something to I need some help. And I was on Facebook and I saw this little ad that said, jump on this webinar in 5-10 minutes. And it was about, you know, um, improving your career path and achieving your life goals. And I thought, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I'm just going to jump on that. And there you were. And I listened to you speak, and I really resonated with pretty much almost everything that you were saying. Um, and I thought, I was like, okay, she seems really authentic. She really is passionate about what she's doing. Maybe I'll do a call with her. So I signed up for the consultation, and within a couple of days, I think that I had signed up for your program. And the very first thing that you had me do was before I even had, I think, technically officially signed the contract to sign up for your program. The very first thing you had me do was email you my top 10 life goals. And when I was doing that little exercise, and you told me, really reach for the stars. Don't think about if it's not realistic. Don't think about how much experience I need or how much money I need. Just write down, what are my total ultimate dream goals? Like, if nothing was going to stop me. And when I did that exercise, it put me in touch with some of my long lost dreams, aspirations, goals that I had kind of squished and put underneath the rug a long time ago. And so I enjoy that process. Every week we have little mission homeworks that kind of help us, gear us to getting closer to the goals that we set for ourselves. Yeah. Do you want me?
Okay. So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more, like go a little bit more into detail, especially in terms of what you're saying with the goals and how there are things that get buried down, and there are so many reasons why that happens, right? So let's go into some of the things that, as a new nurse grad, that you were dealing with, right? So how much were you thinking about I know one thing you mentioned was that in your cohort, it seemed like nobody had really found a job, and you were worried about getting stuck after all of the years you had spent in your nursing degree and the money that you still weren't going to get a job. Like, what were all those challenges that you were facing?
I knew that I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing. And that's one thing that your program really helps us to do, is to really think more outside of the box and more independent of the mainstream norms. Because I was starting to really fall within that. And so I knew that I didn't want to just do what everyone else was doing as far as the rest of my nursing cohort that graduated with me from my nursing school. A lot of them were having challenges finding work and putting in, hundreds of applications every week. I knew that I didn't want to fall into that old school kind of dynamic that really doesn't work. It didn't really make sense to me anyway. So I think that once I psychologically, and I think that's what this program really helped me with, is helping me with, is the psychology of stepping outside of my comfort zone and trying some new things. Really, and once I kind of decided that in my mind, that I knew that I didn't want to do it the old way, like the way that everyone else is doing it, but I wanted to be open to, or explore new ways, other ways, more creative ways to get what I wanted in life, to achieve my goals. Once I just made that decision psychologically, everything started to kind of open up for me. So I actually, since then, I've had a few job offers. I've only actually technically put in one application for a nurse job. And that was only a formality because I had already been offered that job. And that was not because of my qualifications, because I didn't have any experience as a nurse, but it was more because I think energetically and psychologically I was open to other opportunities. I had made that decision. So to reiterate, I had made the decision that I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing. And two, that really opened me up for other opportunities. And my first job offer was just a relationship thing where I just kind of met someone and he offered me the job. So
interesting. So many people will say, oh, I know someone. It seems like they just got a position because they knew someone, but I don't know anyone. So I guess I just have to apply. They're the lucky ones. Or maybe I just have to try to meet someone. I don't know. And they sort of seem like that's not an option for them, or if they get lucky, they'll meet someone. So in the meantime, I'd better sit down and write my applications. And so I'm really curious with you, Nynke, because you've never struck me as someone who is very, you're someone who who generally thinks outside of the box. You're not the most cookie cutter type of person. Right? And I think you've had some varied experiences in your past as well, even nursing. This is not your first career. And but nursing is something that's traditionally seen as not exactly the type of job where you are able to think outside the box, and people think that there is that cookie cutter approach with nursing, just like with other positions. So what was it for you that, obviously everyone wants to be able to take a different approach if they can, but what was it for you that actually led you to believe that there is a different way? Because I think everyone wants there to be a different way, but most people have trouble believing that there's a different way because they think that either, okay, there's a different way, maybe if you have the contacts, or maybe if you get lucky, or maybe if whatever, but for me, this is the only approach I know. So what was it for you that you were able to believe that there was a different approach?
I'm not quite sure how to answer that question. I would say the change in me on my day-to-day in the last 2 months was that I went from being kind of in a slump. I was very, very depressed because I was going for a divorce of a relationship of 8 years. I was really unmotivated. And once I graduated and passed my board exam, I was kind of doing this thing where my morning routine lasted 3 or 4 hours. And that was one of the things that you helped me with, Dahlia. You were like, set timers. You helped me shorten that. And I also made a commitment to wake up earlier so that I could actually be more productive throughout the day. So that's one thing, is that I committed to and slowly carved out more time to work um, each day. But I did it slowly. So before I was waking up at like 10 in the morning, then I moved it down to 9, 8. Now this morning I woke up at 6 o'clock. And that felt really good. But it takes a kind of a commitment to do that.
Yeah.
We said that I wasn't willing to really give up my morning routine, but we knew that we needed to shorten it. And so you gave me some tools how to do that. And now I've got it really nice and short. So I'm still meditating, doing the things in the morning that I need to do to be grounded and prepared and energized for the day. That's one thing. So just carving out, creating and committing to more time to be productive towards reaching my career goals, whether it's being on the computer, working on my resume, making phone calls, whatever it is that's my work-orientated, making sure I have more hours. So now I have that. And number two, I would say that it really helps to have a mentor. So someone who can, like you and I were Marco Poloing every day. That's part of what your program offers. And I thought that was really, really helpful, especially early on, because even though of the time difference, you're in Barcelona, I'm in California, you're about 8 or 9 hours ahead of me. I knew that if I woke up and Marco Polo'd you by 10 o'clock my time in the morning, that I would get an answer from you. And we were having that day-to-day feedback loop, and that was really, really helpful. I think a lot of people, especially when they're in the new job field, like the nursing new grads from my program, I would say to them, get a mentor, get someone who maybe is a career coach or even someone who's an experienced nurse who's done it. It helps to have a mentor because they can they can give you feedback, give you tips, and you're not alone in the process. They can tell you, and also it gives you someone to be accountable to. So you're not just like, oh, okay, I didn't call that person today, I'll do it tomorrow. But you're when you have someone that you're checking in with on a daily basis, a mentor or a coach, that person can be like, did you call that person? Oh, you didn't call the person? Okay, what are you going to do to call that person? And I do think it's really, and so I just, I went from being a nursing new grad and I had a couple of job offers, and I'm working now part-time as a nurse. And I'm now working also as a real estate investor, which is a whole new job field for me as well. I have a few mentors who are real estate investors who are very successful, and they're teaching me their system. So even though I don't have an experience in this field, they're walking me through it. And so it helps to have someone who has experience in the field that you're working in or wanting to get into to mentor you. And if you need to pay for that, or you can do a work trade, or come up with some kind of negotiate your agreement, it's very useful to have a mentor. So that's my second thing I would say. Carve out more time to be productive in the day. And that's speaking from personal experience. And number two, get a mentor.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So, I think with getting the mentorship, it's kind of like a way to replace that needing experience to get experience cycle. So if you don't have the experience, you can hire someone who does, and it's almost like you can just learn from all of their experience, and you can actually you can avoid so many pitfalls, and you can just have the confidence that comes with having the experience, even without having spent those years getting it and building up that confidence bit by bit, right? And then the other interesting thing in terms of carving out the time, because I think time is one of those things that everyone goes, oh, I should just be more productive, or, oh, I should just, get myself together and just do it, right? And it's not that simple. The time, the motivation, it's not as simple as watching a motivational YouTube video and all of a sudden you're motivated for the day and you're good to go. There's so much behind that. And what's happened with you is that I think you've actually transformed from, like you were saying in the beginning, you were dealing with all these personal issues. You were a new grad looking for a job. Like even that can lead to depression on its own, let alone having a divorce and all of these kinds of things. So you were in this sort of a stuck state. And I think one of the reasons that you've become so successful is that you committed to not just, okay, get a job, right? Because that is the risk, I think, for a lot of new grads, which is okay, I just have to get my foot in the door, just have to get a job and fight, get a job. And from there, I'll try to grow my experience base, right? And you committed, even though you were not in, let's call it a happy place, right? You were in a tough spot. Still, you didn't committed to desperation mode and you didn't commit to survival mode. You committed to whatever the highest goal is you possibly can.
I didn't
And
settle.
that is how, yeah. And that's why now you've become, in a couple of weeks, you went from sleeping in, feeling kind of depressed, trying to motivate yourself. You've become a successful person. When I say you're a successful person, that means you're getting up early, you have a morning ritual, you know what your action plan is for the day, you actually complete that action plan. And I think all of that was actually able to happen because first you committed to the top and you committed to those goals, and then you were able to, the action plan comes from there. It doesn't come from trying to feel more motivated. It comes from the top and then it trickles down to your motivation level. And it's not very motivating to say, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to send out 100 applications today and hope someone gets back to me. Because it's not a very high goal, right?
That sounds very depressing. I mean, probably not even that productive, because everyone does that. I do think, I have to be disciplined. One needs to be disciplined and commit to what they say they're going to do every day. So I write down my goals for each day and for each week, and and then I have my bigger goals, and I commit to, if I don't get to the whole list, that's fine. I'm going to put it for the next day, but I'm really going to try to do the hardest. Like you said, I'm going to do the hardest task first, right after my morning routine, after I've had my little snack or breakfast. I'm going to make the most difficult phone call or email first. I'm going to do the most difficult thing, and then I've already done it. And I think that really transforms things for me too. And I also want to say that because I was psychologically open to other things, I actually was able to start, I actually turned down one job and told them, but I was able to say, hey, I don't want to work for you guys because it's full time and because I need more time to put into my real estate investment business. But this is what I can offer you. I can offer you guys Tai Chi classes and Qigong classes because I really love your company. But I went from wanting to work for them full time as a nurse to saying, no, I don't want to work for you doing that job, but I want to offer this. And so I'm leaving that door open. I'm not closing any doors. I'm just, trying to establish or stay connected, keeping those doors open. So I just wanted to mention that too.
This is the amazing thing, because so many people ask me, am I going to get a job opportunity during the program? I would need to know, am I going to get a job? And it's hard to explain to people that so many times you will get a job, but you will turn down the job and you will go for something even higher. And when you're still in that desperation mode, that survival mode, it's really hard to imagine that happening. But, at the beginning, did you ever think you would end up becoming a real estate investor? I mean, and teaching these classes, and that opens up that greater mission, and then things can start falling into place.
And the interesting thing about the real estate investing is that I was curious about doing real estate like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. But it just wasn't all the numbers weren't right, and it wasn't the right fit. Yeah. Now everything fits all the numbers make sense. So I had forgotten that I was interested in that, and then this opportunity came up, and it was just the right company, the right program, the right people, authentic, successful, So I would say never. Keep all your doors open, but even though, so now I'm working I negotiated, I have a nurse job that I basically have as much flexibility as I want. I can work whichever days I want. I can work 8-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts. The company really likes me. So I already have a relationship with the director there. So they were really happy to have me on board. I could not work for them for a month if I decided to take a whole month off. I was able to negotiate the amount that I want to be paid, which is pretty good for a new grad. And so I have all this flexibility and that's really where you want to get if in your career path, unless you're going to become your own boss. If you're working for someone else, you want to be able to negotiate, and this is part of what your program, Dahlia, teaches as well, is how to negotiate things on your terms, the way you want, what you want to work, how much you want to be paid, and really come from a win-win situation. What are you offering? You're offering and really valuing yourself versus being desperate for the very first job that comes along. Because if you're desperate for the very first job that comes along, you're not going to be happy. So
you get into another trap, right? It's either you're looking for the job trap, or you're in the trap of you have the one job and you can't go anywhere from there.
And you hate it. And it's like a lot of people, I think that before I started your program, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to start at the bottom of the ladder. And then I'm going to have to go up the ladder like everyone else.
That's the way most people think about their careers, right? You get it, whatever you can get, and then you try to move up.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that way. So, yeah.
Okay, I want to hear more about your mission, because you have this beautiful mission, and I know you have some amazing goals, and they're starting to become real. I mean, when you first wrote down your goals, right, you were writing them down because you were given permission to dream big and to sort of dream unrealistically. Now they're looking actually not that far away, considering how much you've done in a couple of weeks. So what is your big mission, and what are your goals? Because it's really beautiful. I think we need to share it.
I love that you're having me voice it, because I'm pretty shy about.
Let's hear your
shy about voicing these publicly.
Yeah,
because they're kind of like secret dreams of mine, and I'm not sure if I've been afraid to of being judged. Like I'm not sure if I've been afraid of other people being like, oh, you'll never be able to do that. So I'm not sure if that's what it is, the reason why. That I don't know. I don't really outwardly talk about these goals very often. Only my very close friends might know, So for one of my big goals eventually is well, first of all, I'm adopted. I was adopted. I was in an orphanage till I was 3 in Hong Kong. And then I was adopted by a European Dutch family. So I'm one of those lucky kids that got picked up out of the orphanage and was given another chance, you could say. So a big life dream goal for me has been, and this is one of those goals that I had squished many, many years ago, forgotten about, written about it in journals, and then forgotten about it. Because I didn't really know if it was attainable. But for me, in this country, in America, we don't have orphanages, but we have foster homes and that sort of thing. It's a different system set up. But ideally, what I'd like to do is to have, 10 or 15 or even 20 foster kids that I take in, foster to adopt, ideally. But it's a tricky system to navigate. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you take in kids and you only have them for a few months, or maybe you'll have a foster kid for 2 years, but then they get taken away and go move somewhere else. Maybe they're resituated with their biological parents, or so there's this thing where you can get attached to kids, and then so that takes a lot of training and psychological training just to kind of deal with taking children in and then kind of losing them as well. But ideally, I'd love to have a home that's open for children, foster kids, and ideally I would adopt them if possible. I'd have a fully staffed property, with a garden. Fully staffed, I mean like chef, tutors, music teachers, English teachers, people that came in and taught the children independently, or maybe they would go to a public school. But that's definitely one of my dreams. If I was in a different country, it would basically be an orphanage.
Yeah.
But in America, you call it something else because
Okay. Yeah.
Orphanages here. So that's definitely, and for me, maybe I'll start with one kid at a time. Maybe very often they have foster kids who maybe there's 2 sisters or 3 brothers, and they don't want to separate them. So sometimes you'll have a group of siblings that come in together. So that happens a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Often these kids have they have a lot of trauma. Some of them have mental disabilities. Some of them have physical disabilities. So that's all stuff that you'd have to really, if you have a home, you have to really think about the staffing and the support and the resources to create something that's sustainable and healthy for these children. So that's something that I would love to do. Yeah. And then the second thing is the Watsu Center, which is also a dream of mine that I had many, many years ago. And I even had an architect draw out the plans and everything, and then I just forgot about it. I think we had a big financial crash in 2008.
Yeah.
And after that, I just forgot about all that stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, let me just go be a nurse. And the nurse thing was something I'm very passionate about. Yeah. It's a natural progression for me to go from being kind of like a healer to being more professional and working more mainstream, helping people get healthy, or helping people heal themselves. But I kind of put those dreams aside and was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on I'm going to focus on becoming a nurse. The other dream was the Watsu Center. And a Watsu is like an aquatic form of bodywork, where the practitioner floats the person who's receiving the bodywork in a warm body of water, usually about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a type of bodywork that I'm very passionate about. It's really amazing at some point. So just look it up. WATSU. Watsu is the name of that type of bodywork. And I wanted to create a facility where maybe we'd have a healing center in the front, and then in the back, you'd walk to the back and there was the warm pool. And there would be a couple of massage rooms, shower, hot tub on the either side. But the pool was, for people to come. Watsu practitioners can come and rent out the space to give Watsu sessions to people who want to receive. But also masseuses, massage body workers can rent out the rooms and so forth. And then there was also what I had designed was a community gathering space as well. Hold on one second. My friend is at the door. Hold on.
Oh, no problem. So I'll just jump in and say something meanwhile. So So Nynke has a lot of really, really big missions, and I am extremely inspired by all her plans. I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to hear.
So
I mean, I'm
basically,
getting so much inspiration from all of your projects and such kind of
yeah,
original ideas, but also very logical, like why should these things not exist? And so many people have these ideas in mind and these plans. I hear about them all the time from people where they go, yeah, the dream is this, the dream is that. But it's like everyone has this assumption that that these big dreams will somehow materialize one day, and meanwhile I will follow the mainstream, be responsible, do my path, build my way up to this dream. But we all know that that doesn't really, I mean, the mainstream does not tend to lead to this kind of thing, right? So unless you design it yourself and you find a way to, create your life, create your goals, make all of this stuff a reality, it's not just going to materialize. And I think people, maybe they have the idea that one day when they are more worthwhile, when they have more experience, when they have more money, one day they're going to be able to do these things. But instead, they end up just struggling their whole life, going from paycheck to paycheck, trying to get a job, trying to maintain that job, that they're never in a position where all of a sudden it becomes easy to put these plans together.
yeah, and then by the time they retire, they have so many health issues or just stress, and they can't really even enjoy their 2 week or, I mean, even throughout the years, the one each year, like even people can't really enjoy their 2 week vacation or 3 week vacation
Yeah.
that they get. It takes them quite a few days just to try to relax.
Exactly. And I think it's not a case of, you must go and build that foster home now, but you need to get into a position where you're able to be a creator versus a survivor, right?
Exactly. I want to keep those two dreams,
Mhm.
those two goals more in the forefront of
Yeah.
my mind. And I don't want to forget them because when they're in my mental and energetic sphere, I'm sorry
Mhm.
if I'm talking, but when I'm thinking about that, just like I said earlier, how I said I made a decision and psychologically and energetically I was open for more
Mhm.
opportunities, those opportunities presented themselves to me.
Yeah.
Someone basically just offered a job to me. And and I really liked their personality. It was someone that I was like, oh, I could really work for you. You're
Yeah.
cool, Um, in the same way, if I'm remembering, okay, I really want to do this foster home, I really want to do this Watsu Center, and I'm keeping that in the forefront of my mind as well, I'm going to be more open to those opportunities, those networking connections. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a great person to connect with because that person did this healing center over there. Maybe
Mhm.
we should talk and have lunch or have a phone conversation. I'd love to kind of get their feedback at what worked for them, what didn't work for. I think that if we open ourselves up to, I mean, I know I'm sounding kind of, I don't want to sound too way out there. I want to be very tangible and real, I want
Yeah.
people to grasp this. But really, if we're open to ideas and opportunities, those opportunities will present themselves. But if we continue to say, I can't do it, I'm not going to have enough
Yeah.
time, I don't have the right experience, I'm never going to meet the right people, then that's true. You're not going to get those opportunities.
Yeah. And I think kind of the way that it all comes together is number one, it's the being open, the shift in psychology, the shift to, okay, I'm going to believe there's a better way and I'm going to make sure I have the better way on my side, as opposed to going, you know, being sort of cynical or going, well, everyone I know is doing it this way, so I will just do it that way as well. So I think that's the first shift. But then the second thing, and this is, this is obviously for you. I mean, you are amazing at this. Having your networking skills together, knowing how to come into contact with the right people, and then knowing what to say to them, knowing how to negotiate. All of those are very tangible skills and very things that really come down to your situation, because everyone knows they need to learn how to network, everyone knows they need to learn how to negotiate, but when it's your turn and you're in the situation and you're having to negotiate, that's where it can kind of all fall apart, and that's where you really need to be ready for that. You need to have those skills, and you need to know how to apply it to your exact situation, because every situation is different. And I think because all these opportunities are coming to you because you have all of these different pieces in place as well.
And your program helps with a lot of that stuff, the negotiation, the networking. You're giving tools for networking as well. There was something I was going to say. I can't remember now. It will come back to me.
But yeah, you need to have all these tangible pieces as well for this kind of magical piece to work, I think.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So everyone's afraid of rejection, and you address it too in your program.
We talk about rejection a lot, don't we?
A lot, because we're all afraid of being rejected, and we're all afraid of failing. Even the most successful people are scared of being rejected. So these are core human things that we all share. No one's immune or has some kind of superpower and isn't afraid of being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
We all go through it. So your program also addresses that and give a lot of tools around that. And what is it really failure when you fail? And so that's also, those are really great, because you can't be afraid to fail. It's okay if you make a mistake and you fail, but it's an opportunity. You're learning. I mean, none of us knew how to drive a car. Now we know how to drive a car. So we all have to start somewhere, and we make our mistakes, and making mistakes is part of life, but it's what do we do when we make those mistakes? How do we pick ourselves back up? And I think that your program really helps address that as well. Because if we're not afraid to take risks, and I'm a kind of person, I take informed, educated risks. I don't go into stuff completely blindly, but you do have to take risks in life. When you're reaching out and networking, and you're an introvert and you're scared of people saying no to you and not calling you back, they might not call you back, but you've got to keep trying. So I think your program's also really helpful with that.
How have you redefined failure? Because I think failure stops people from doing so many different things, because they go, oh, I know that, I'd like to do this, but I know that's risky, so I'd better stick to this. That's the responsible approach. But if you redefine failure as not even going for something, or not even putting the chances on your side, isn't that the real failure, right? But I'm curious for you, like, what is your definition of failure now?
I don't think I can fail. I think that I can put a lot of time and energy and money into something, and maybe it doesn't pan out. But what I get from that experience is that I am learning. I make sure also that I'm not completely closing every door. I want to keep all my doors open, but maybe this month I'm just focusing on this real estate situation. And then next month I'm focusing on this door, this opportunity. But so I'm being very specific about where I'm putting my time and energy each day, each week, each month, but I'm not closing any doors. So I'm putting a lot of energy into this real estate investment, but I'm not closing the door in nursing. I just want to be able to do nursing on my terms. I don't want to be like all my nurse friends who are burnt out, working 2 hospital jobs, barely paying their mortgage. They have all these health issues, stressed out. They don't get to spend any time with their family. I don't want to be like that, but I do want to nurse. I do want to be a nurse. So I negotiated a nurse job where I have full flexibility. I get paid what I want, and I still get to invest time diversifying my income stream, doing this real estate investment stuff. So I have not closed the door on nursing. I've left it open, and I'm still doing it, but on my terms.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, because then you can also serve your nursing mission. I mean, you want to heal people, you want to help people, and you don't want to start becoming resentful because it's taking your whole life away, right? Or even affecting your health. How can you help to keep other people healthy if your job is making you unhealthy? So you can be a top nurse now who is actually healthy and mentally healthy and financially healthy as well. And then you'll be in a much better position to be able to help these people, not to mention build your other projects to help children and, do everything else that you want to be accomplishing. So this is amazing. And the other thing, so I wanted to ask you, what do you feel has been your main change? So out of all of that, what is the main difference between Nynke now versus Nynke, the new nursing grad?
I would say that I feel really invigorated and motivated, and I actually feel the clearest in my mind that I have felt in a long time. That the most, I think before I was doing nursing school and I felt clear that that was what I was doing. But even now, I feel even more clear that this is what I'm doing is the right thing. My heart feels really like it's being fulfilled. I feel like I'm passionate about what I'm doing in my day-to-day, and I'm passionate and happy about what I'm working towards. That's not to say that I don't get afraid, that I don't get lonely, that I don't fear rejection, that people aren't going to call me back or email me back or tell me, hey, you don't know anything, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
All those fears.
They're still there, right? But you just know how to handle them.
Yeah, but I also, yeah, exactly. I just deal with
you have a higher purpose, so they don't matter.
Exactly. And I just feel really good. I mean, before I was kind of depressed and in a slump and I was unmotivated and I was like, oh, I got to start looking for a nurse job. And now I'm like, oh, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and I feel really great. And I'm still maintaining my morning routine, my meditation, my core, my going to the gym. I'm still working out. My heart feels, I feel really healthy, and like everything I'm doing right now is the right thing. So that's not to say I'm not going to fail. I'm going to make mistakes, but I feel like I'm going to just pick myself back up and keep going.
Yes, this is so amazing. And I mean, can you imagine if everyone would feel like that, if everyone would have that clarity that they know they're doing the thing they're meant to do? And I mean, one of the reasons you have all of this clarity is because what you're doing came directly from yourself. It didn't, you were able to you followed the process, you got the clarity, and you're the one who knows your own dreams. You're the one who were able to bring them forward. Nobody told you, hey Nynke, why don't you be a nurse, or why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? And you're going, okay, I'll try that and see, right? Which is what most people are doing out there, and nobody gets connected to what they really want. They don't even, we're not even taught how to learn what we really want and what we're really meant to do. And can you imagine if everyone had that clarity and everyone knew that they were on the right path and serving a mission? I mean, we would all be so much more productive, and I think the world would be a completely different place.
Yeah, when I'm meeting people for the first time, one of the first things I like to know about them is, what are they passionate about?
Yeah.
What's feeding their soul?
I bet that's a question that takes a lot of people by surprise when you ask it.
Yeah, and then, if sometimes they say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, okay, think about it.
Think about it.
Go for a hike.
Yeah, get some clarity on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy about that you found that, because when you started off, it was clear that you were a passionate person and that you wanted to accomplish good and you wanted to make a big impact. And it was like you just needed to really give yourself permission to make that impact and have the tools and have everything in place so that you could go out there and actually just do it, but it's like, this is what you were always meant to do. This is not something that you've had to pull out of nowhere. I mean, it was like, it was always there, and it just has to be pulled out, and so that you can just do the work that you're supposed to be doing.
Oh,
So
another thing.
yeah,
Oh,
no, go
I
ahead,
want
go ahead.
really quickly also is that I'm still keeping in the forefront that connection that you made that connection with Anne, the nurse who
Oh
works
yeah,
for
yeah.
W. You connected me with her. I was really inspired with what she said. She gave me an email, kind of step by step of what I would
Mhm.
need to do that kind of more
Yeah.
humanitarian work as a nurse, and that was really inspiring for me too. And so that I'm definitely keeping that door open as well
There's so
because
many doors.
that seems really exciting to me as well, doing
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
that work.
And this is the whole thing where you're able to have the nursing mission without necessarily some of the downsides, right? Like usually there's a way to navigate career freedom so that you have the freedom to do the things that you want, maintain the doors open that you want to maintain open, close the doors that are not a good fit anymore. That's okay too. And you can start designing these things. And you don't have to have experience to do that. You don't have to work your way up to a certain magical level where you finally get to decide what you want for yourself and for your life.
Where you just talked about closing doors, I will just piggyback on that too. I think it's really important to know which doors to close. I had a friendship that was unhealthy,
Mm-hmm.
and that person wasn't really healthy, and it was taking a lot of energy, and you have to really pick and choose where you want to put your energy, and you only have so much time, hours in a day.
Absolutely.
So I actually told that person, I said, I love you and I just need a break
Yeah.
from being in contact with you. And it was really hard for her to hear that. But
Mm-hmm.
you just have to make your decisions in life, like what's healthy and what's not, what's going to help you, you know, reach your goals, but also what's healthy for you on your day
Yeah.
to day.
Yeah.
So it is important to close doors that are not healthy for you.
Yeah, because what's not healthy for you is not going to be good for someone else. And I think this is another thing that we have trouble realizing sometimes is that we think that if we sacrifice ourselves, whether that's our time, our energy, our happiness, that is going to be making someone else happy. And that is never the case, right? If you're not happy, you're not making people around you happy. Even if it seems like there are people dependent on you, sometimes that's your job where you say, oh, I can't possibly leave now because they need me, or, and there is always a way to close that door in the right way and move on to what's going to make you happy, and it's going to make your work happier as well and be better for all parties involved, because we need to it's not about win lose all the time. There's not a pie that we all have to take a piece out of. Every win is going to be a win for someone else as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, so last question. What is your advice especially for new nurse graduates, but really for any new grad who is exactly where you were? Because there are a lot of people out there who are in this cycle, and what's your advice for them since you were
And,
not there very long?
and quite a few of them are still looking for work.
Yes.
And then I just had one friend from a nursing cohort who had to move out of state, and she had been looking for jobs, and then she got a job that's way out of state in like Ohio or something, and so she had to give up her whole California lifestyle just to get this job, and it's at the bottom
Yeah.
of the ladder. And then I had another friend who had to move, and so people are kind of starting to settle
Yeah.
for jobs and have to move, and they're not very happy with it, but that's what they think that they have to do.
Yeah.
First of all, I would tell them to give me a call so I could try to inspire them and
Yeah.
kind of open some more doors for them, and inspire them to kind of think outside the box. I would say that they need to get a nurse mentor, or go with your program, get a career coach like you. But they need mentorship around it. They need to that's number one. And number two, they need to assess what are they doing every day. How are they
Yeah.
spending their time? And then they really need to redefine what they're putting their time and energy into so that it's really productive.
Mm-hmm.
Three, I would say just assess the things, look at the things that's working and look at the things that are not working. relationships, things that taking up their time, and just get rid of the stuff, close the doors on the stuff that's not working.
Yeah.
So if
And
you put in
this is great
200
advice.
applications, you know, even if you put 200 in applications in every week and you're not getting the responses, why
Maybe
is that?
change the approach. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That's
Have
very good
someone look
advice.
at your resume, have someone look at your cover letter, have someone like you, Dahlia, look at that stuff. Because you helped me with my resume. My resume was a mess before.
Yeah, that's right. We'd had to work quite a bit on your resume. Yeah.
And now it looks a lot better.
This really breaks my heart because I see so many, and this happens with everyone, but new grads especially, because when you graduate, even if you're stuck and you're getting worried and you're getting stressed. Oh no, go ahead.
Hold on one second. Hey, Ashel, someone found your car key lock. Do you have it? It was outside of your car. I put it in that basket.
Oh, cool. That's what I was wondering what happened.
Yeah. It was just outside your car. So the neighbor brought it over.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Someone almost got his car stolen.
Yeah. Luckily, our neighborhood's not a bad neighborhood.
Nice people in your neighborhood. That's good. No, but this really breaks my heart because so many people, whether new grads or even post new grad, they have this hope that, okay, I just recently graduated, things will work out, I have time, etc. And they can waste so much time. And then, I mean, I have the kind of luxury, I guess you could call it, or the perspective of meeting people at all different stages of their career. So I meet the people at the beginning where they're sending out 200 applications, but they're still hopeful. But I also meet the ones that are at the end who are suffering from a number of different consequences because they never got to reach their dream and because they're still stuck in that cycle of settling and whatnot. Only now they also have to deal with burnout and depression and all kinds of, and lack of financial stability and all these kinds of things because they just kept staying in that for years and years and years.
Another thing I would say to my nursing cohort is like what I was talking about at the beginning of this interview was the job offer that I got right away was totally in an unexpected environment situation. So it wasn't like I wasn't online Googling and looking for jobs and then I got the job offer. It was in a totally unrelated, nothing to do with nursing situation.
Yeah.
So when you open your mind and your heart psychologically for opportunities to say, I am ready for an awesome nurse job. I'm just saying specifically for my nursing cohort. I'm totally ready for an awesome job in an awesome place where the staff are awesome and my supervisor is awesome and I love working there and I get paid, what I want to get paid. I'm totally open to that. You'll be meeting those people on the bus, in the train station, at the grocery store. You never know who you're standing next to.
Yeah.
And you just strike up a conversation and you're like, oh, that's how this job, my first job offer, it was 3 days after I graduated my board exam. He was like, wait, why are you here? Wait, you just graduated nursing school? We're looking for a nurse.
Yeah.
You should work here. I like you. You're got a great personality. You should work here. And I was like, oh my God, are you offering me a job? Usually it takes 6 months for a nurse.
Isn't this supposed to be way harder?
Yeah. And so it was because I was open.
Yeah.
So.
And you gave yourself permission for it not to be hard.
Exactly. I don't need it to be hard.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that I'm not willing to put hard work and energy and time and commitment into something that I believe in. Yeah. So I'm not saying that I'm lazy. I'm not saying that I don't have to work. I work really hard and I'm very diligent. So I set goals and I commit to those goals.
Yeah.
So you
I think the big takeaway as well is that you were not open to receive whatever someone would just give you. You were going for the best. I mean, you were going for impact as well. You were going, no matter what, I am here to make an impact on the world, not just to get a job. And I think that is the big important distinction, that you were out of desperation mode. You were going, no matter what, I'm aiming for as high as possible. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Okay, now I'm open for whatever that path is going to be. And that is why it all started happening. So Nynke, thank you so much for coming on here and doing this interview. And I hope that we have given some, especially some new grads, a bit of food for thought where they can, start. We're always talking about this, but it's so much better when we have someone who's actually doing it right now. So it's not just me explaining, what that can actually look like in different scenarios and different examples. And because your mission is going to be totally different from the next person's mission. And the exact way that it happened for you is obviously going to be totally different from the exact way it's going to happen for someone else. But there are a few key concepts there that are totally necessary for everyone. And that is being able to aim higher and then having that process in place.
A lot of the things that we talked about when I was referring to your program, like the goal setting, the writing down how we value ourselves, the negotiation, and all the stuff with even the resume and all that stuff, those things, if someone joins your program now, they can pertain to their life goals right now, but the tools that you're sharing in your program can be used. I can use them for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So they don't just pertain to me achieving these goals.
And not just for nursing.
So, exactly. So they relate to my whole life.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that too.
Okay, I'm happy you shared that. And again, this pertains to how important it is to think long-term and not just about the next job and not just building the skills you need for the next job or having the vision to get that next position. It's about building what you need for the rest of your life. And that's how you're going to be able to get an amazing next job, because you're not just aiming to get your foot in the door, you're aiming for this higher and amazing mission. All right, Nynke, well, it's been so great to have you share all of that. And this is also just the beginning, right? So this is not the end, this is the beginning. Your mission is really just getting started, and it's gonna grow, and you're getting that momentum, which means things are gonna start snowballing and getting faster and faster and faster. And I don't think that foster home is very far away at all with the kind of pace you're moving at. So I am really, really looking forward to seeing what happens next for you. You're an amazing professional and an amazing success story, like a success individual, and you have all of the habits in place. You're getting all the contacts in place as well, and I love the snowball effect that you're getting right now.
Thank you, Dahlia. I'm very inspired, and we should do an interview in like 5 years from now.
5 years, maybe sooner than 5 years.
Just to like. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 years. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Whenever your next win is, we're gonna touch base and let's do that. But I think it'll be sooner than 5 years. I have that feeling from you.
All right, thank you, Dahlia. I'm really, really grateful that I met you, and have an awesome holidays, whatever you're doing.
Yes, you too. I'm so happy I met you, and we're gonna definitely be in touch in the other group. Okay, Nynke, I appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.